All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. So I just got back from picking up what I hope is going to be a really good donor and part out vehicle for me. I picked up this 2002 Cadillac Escalade. I bought this thing non-running. The person I bought it from says that it ran when it was parked. It was parked in a barn. He said it's been there for about 4 years. I believe him from the looks of how far this thing was settled into the barn floor. And when he went to start it last time, he says he tries to start it every 4 or 6 months or so. He said last time he went to start it, it wouldn't start. He put a starter on it. It still wouldn't start. He thinks that rodents have gotten into the wire harness and are causing it to not want to crank. It's very possible. I don't see any holes or anything in the engine block when I inspected it, and it's a complete vehicle. Everything is here. It's not the most pristine example of an Escalade I've seen. It's got the weirdest hood rust I've come across. That's what the heck. But it's all here. So I'm gonna try to get the engine running. I'm gonna start just by putting a fresh battery in it and checking it over, see if I see anything that looks out of place or chafed wires or anything like that. I don't see any obvious rodent damage, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So I'm gonna pop the hood, check the fluids, and get a battery that holds a charge put into it and see where that puts me. Have oil in it. Yes, but it's oil. Transmission. Very. Doesn't smell burnt. Wiring looks okay. It looks like it's extremely low on coolant. Yeah, I see something that looks like a wire chafed or disconnected or something down here by the steering gearbox. This runs under the front of the engine. I'm gonna have to get under there and look at that, see what that is. Looks like it's got some kind of aftermarket anti-theft system or something put in here. Who knows what that might actually be or do. Who knows when you're dealing with something 20 years old with multiple owners. Anytime you're hooking up a battery, guys, hook up the positive first. That way, if you bump your wrench against the body or whatever it may be, I mean, if you hit the negative terminal, it's still gonna arc. But if you hook up the positive terminal of the battery first before the ground is connected, then there is no current flowing. There's no possibility of shorting when you touch your metal wrench to the metal body of the vehicle, because there's no pathway to ground. All right, so now we've got a battery in it that I know is charged. Let's see what happens this time. Check this out. You hear that? Oh, it just stopped. There it is. It sounds like a flasher or a relay or something. Where is it? What is it? I mean, that's a weird noise. It shouldn't be doing that. All right, well, I'm not sure what this stuff is, but I'm pretty sure GM didn't put it here. I got this thing, Clifford Matrix RS 3.5. It's got a relay of some kind in it. That's what's clicking. But it's got a whole bunch of wires. The wire from that comes over to this thing, Extreme Capacity Relay Satellite. Couldn't tell you what that does either. I can see up here, they've got wires very poorly spliced into factory wiring. You know, just strip a little insulation and wrap it with tape. That'll be fine. This little thing goes up. I don't know where this goes to. This blue and red over here. I don't know what this goes to. This seems to run this little LED light on the dash, which makes me think even more this is some kind of aftermarket security system or anti-theft system or something. So I'm gonna have to trace out a few more of these wires. I've got this bundle of black, red, blue, and orange that runs up towards the steering column and into the steering column. So I'm gonna have to follow that out, see what that is. Let's see if I can figure out what the heck is going on here. Hopefully I can get this thing to start. At least get this stuff figured out and what it is and if it's what's giving me issues. All right, well, I got all of that stuff out. That was all the anti-theft system, the aftermarket anti-theft. It says Clifford all over it. I think I remember like a Clifford anti-theft company back in the day. They used the big red dog as their marketing thing. So I'm gonna hook the battery back up and see if we get any action now. What do you think, Ellie? Think Daddy fixed it? Let's try it and see. Let's try it. Ready? Cross your fingers. Hey, we're getting closer. Well, at least now we get some crank. Now, the gas gauge says below empty. So I'm gonna try putting some gas in it and see if that helps. All right, I dumped some gas in the tank. Let's give it another try. Let's see if it'll start now. Nope, not yet. But it is reading oil pressure while the engine is cranking, which is good. I do see down here on the harness that runs under the front of the engine, there looks like a light green wire broken and sticking out. And if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure one of the wires that goes to the crank position sensor is a light green wire. So I'm gonna crawl under, see if that wire is in fact broken, and see if I can get that spliced back together, and then try it and see what we get. Okay, I repaired that wire. Let's see if we get anything now. Still no. All right, everybody, it's a couple days later. Again, I'm back working on this Escalade. So my wire harness here that runs down, it goes under the front of the engine. Now this harness has a primary ground wire for the ignition coils in it. It has the crank position wires in it. It has, I believe it has a sensor. It has the AC compressor, clutch control wires, as well as a pressure sensor wires in there, and the low oil level sensor as well. So there's quite a few things in this harness. Now the engine cranks over really well, but it does not start, and I can see I've got at least 2 or 3 wires in this harness that are either broken or cut. Now this harness is really tight to the engine. It runs behind the power steering pump. It's very difficult to get access to with it in position. So I'm gonna remove the starter, disconnect it from the crank position sensor, disconnect the other plugs, pull it all up over here where I can work on it better, get those damaged and cut wires repaired, and then get it put back in correctly. Okay, team, I just got the text from my wife. My truck time is done for this afternoon. She needs my help with the kids, so I'm gonna head in, but I did get my low oil pressure sensor wires repaired. I got all the wires in the harness down to the crank position sensor and everything else down there repaired. So when I'm able to come back out, probably tomorrow, I can get this harness put back into place and make sure the engine starts. That's the big ticket. The engine has to run before I do anything else. So we'll pick back up there. All right, next day again. I'm gonna try to get this harness put back in and see if I can get this thing to start. Okay, I've got that harness repaired. I've got everything connected back in where it's supposed to be. Everything plugged up, routed, connected. Oh, let's see if this thing starts. Cross your fingers for me. Okay, still no start. That's annoying. I wonder if I have fuel pressure. All right, well, I got no fuel in the rail. All right, I've cycled the key about a dozen times. If the fuel pump is working, I should definitely have some fuel up here at the rail by now. I still have no fuel. So, I'm gonna go get my portable fuel cell, hook that up to this thing, and see if it'll start if I provide it fuel that way. Okay, still no start. Okay, everybody, well, as you probably guessed, since this isn't a clip of the truck running, it still doesn't run. Now I hooked up my scanner, pulled DTCs. It has 0 DTCs, no error codes at all. But when I pull the spark plugs, it also has no spark at all. Now, I just fixed the ground wire for the ignition coils, and I know it's connected to the block on a good ground, so that's not the issue. Now, what I think might be my issue is all this. I've got, geez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about a dozen wires here that run to the PCM that are all cut and mangled and hacked up just like those other wires were. So, and a couple of these are orange wires, which I know are power supply wires. So I'm gonna have to fix all of these, and then hopefully that will get me up and running. So more cutting, more splicing, more wire fixing. Hooray! All right, well, I think I've got all these wires repaired now. I know I do. You can see all my cut, splice, heat shrinks, solders. There were 13 in total that were either broken completely or insulation was stripped off to the point that it was at risk of shorting. So I got them all fixed. I'm gonna put the PCM back up out of the way and then see if I can finally get this thing to start. I'm really all right, everybody. So I really didn't want to check all the grounds. I could feel the ground at the back of the engine was in good condition. I already fixed the one on the driver's side of the engine, and there aren't any to the passenger side. So I figured, you know what? All these broken wires could have shorted against each other. Let me check all my fuses. And wouldn't you know it, one of the fuses for the ECM was blown, one of the 20 amp fuses. So I fixed that, I put a new fuse in. Let's see if this thing will come to life now. All right, baby. Live. Well, it started, and the fuel pump is apparently working. So I got to get the truck fuel lines put back onto it. All right, let's start it up again, see what happens. Obviously it's running like crap, but the last time this thing passed the safety inspection was in 2015. So I'd be willing to bet only about half of the injectors are actually injecting with any kind of pattern at all. They're probably just dribbling fuel into the intake manifold if they're letting anything through them. Not to mention, who knows how old the gas that was in there is. And it's been sitting for a damn long time, but it runs. So my gamble paid off. I'll run some injector cleaner through it, get it to run a little bit better. Do a compression test and make sure all of the cylinders have good even compression after I've let it run for a while. I want to let it run to get the fluid circulated, get the rings lubed up, get everything moving through again the way it should be. Oh, there, see, it sounds like it just might have picked up another cylinder. I'm sure it'll get better the more I let it run and as I put some fuel system cleaner through it. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We got this barn find Escalade running enough that I can move it and get on with the stuff that I need to get done this week. And I'll probably pick back up on this another day. I'm not sure yet if it's gonna end up living on in other vehicles as parts, or if I'm gonna fix it up and sell it as a whole. But one way or another, I'll keep you up to date and I'll show you what I'm doing with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this helps you if you find something in a barn and you want to try to get it running yourself. And until the next video, take care.